All right, this is Todd Atkins, and I want you to please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification if you want to get updates whenever I make a video. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, I got 99-cent memberships out there. Um, 99 cents isn't something most of us would miss, so I thought if I do a membership, this would be one that would make sense as I'm not asking people to throw away a lot of money or anything. So if you want to support the channel, you do that, and also you can do some of the super chats and comments and whatever. But really, the memberships is the only thing I'm kind of pushing. And I always appreciate your support. Everyone who checks out the channel, comments, people who like the content that myself, Miguel, Andrew, Benjamin, some of these variety guys that I have in my lexicon of shows, so to speak. And that's going to grow more. I got more interesting people I want to bring in who I think are good intellectuals in the sport of MMA. So you'll see other shows that I'll theme around certain people. So, as always, and I appreciate all the support, and be on the lookout for new episodes. Appreciate it. So this is Todd Atkins, and I'm here with Andrew Benjamin. We're back for the Smartcage Podcast, the best PFL wrap-up podcast on the internet waves. And today we're going to be talking about PFL 4. That's kind of how they number them, or how the internet numbers them. PFL 4 2025. So this is like light heavyweights and heavyweights. And, before we start, Andrew, maybe you could let people know who you are, and how you came to be on this Smartcage podcast.
Oh, well, my name is Andrew. I am the creator / CEO of the We Are Rising podcast, which covers Rising, obviously JMMA, J-Kick, combat sports, mainly in the Japan area. Came aboard when you and I were talking. You're like, oh, we like what PFL is doing. Not a lot of people are giving them the props that they should be getting, and we're like, oh, you know what? Why not? Well, kind of like the same reason why I started the Rising podcast. Didn't see a lot of people covering Rising. I was like, why not? There's a market for this, and same thing with PFL. So that's how this baby started.
So which one would you like to start with, the light heavyweight or the heavyweight bracket?
No, I think we should go. It should be by weight class. Let's go light heavyweight then heavyweight.
Okay. So you want to start at the top of the bracket where Phil Davis, Rob Wilkinson, or?
Oh yeah. Well, listen. You gotta listen. Everybody who shat on Phil Davis, calling the decisionator or whatever, all that stuff. Listen. He knocked out a guy who knocks out people.
Yeah, he's always been a tremendous athletic specimen. Physically. Yeah, great wrestler. I think he wrestled at Penn State too, I believe.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess there at least one successful wrestler from Penn State.
Yeah. I think he wrestled Penn State. I'm not certain, but he was a great college wrestler, obviously, and had a lot of wins by decision over his career. But there were times near the end where I thought he was starting to show some diversity to his game, and I think in this fight he kind of showed that, winning by knockout.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And also, he's had his fair share of finishes. I think his most famous finish, or at least the one that I came to know him about, was I think it was the Anaconda choke of Alex Gustafson, and that led to Gustafson training with him, and then getting ready for the John Jones fight, the first one at least. Yeah, and also Phil Davis has had other finishes in Bellator as well. I remember I think this was a fight when he fought Lyoto Machida. This was during the pandemic era, and I asked him, how do you've had so many you've had so many fights, but you've never been finished. What do you credit that? And he says he always fights smart. He always fights smart, and I think that's kind of like how his record is. He fights smart, and he doesn't get into firefights. He doesn't put his chin out and all that stuff. he may get outboxed, he may even get out grappled by some people, but he never puts himself in positions where he seemingly would be in danger of being finished. I think this is maybe one of the few times where this is the closest. Rob Wilkinson kind of was lighting him up in the first round. But then yeah, second round came and he got he elbow. I think he was an elbow. Was it elbow to the head? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and yeah, beat the previous PFL champion.
Right. And he's had a ton of fights. He's had
Also
33 fights.
and
So,
also credit to him, like he doesn't seem to be losing his step. He seems, like you said, he's a very athletic guy, and think he's 34. No, he's 40. I apologize. He's 40, the big 40. Yeah, he's people like that age and that weight class. You're not really successful when you're 40. So credit to him that he's been able to kind of fight successfully at that age.
yeah, and he's also never lost back-to-back fights.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Looking at his record, he's never lost back-to-back fights before. He's lost 2 or 3 before once, but he's never lost back-to-back.
Oh shit, you're right. Oh wow, yeah, you're right. Oh wow.
So he's pretty impressive for a guy who's been fighting that long. Yeah.
And really the only people who he's lost to were really like, yeah, Corey Anderson, Nemkov, Bader, Rumble.
Looking
Rashad
at the
Evans.
rest
Wow.
of the bracket, do you think he's
Yeah.
the favorite?
Let me get that back up because I was looking at his wrestling record. Let's see. Sullivan Cauley, Shoeface, Simeon Powell. I would probably have to put him, yeah. I would probably have to put him at that. Listen, but Sullivan Cauley, one punch knockout power, that can happen. I think he's probably a better, much more powerful striker than Wilkinson. So Cauley could, so funny. Even when I hear the name Sullivan Cauley, sounds like one of those old timey boxing names, like Sullivan Cauley defeated so and so at the Berkshire Park, 123 whatever. Yeah. So I would say I could definitely see him being the favorites.
Him and Shoeface, I think.
Well, Shoeface didn't look so impressive against Colin Moore.
Yeah, but I thought he had some impressive moments with his techniques. But overall, yeah, it wasn't like. But I thought he did some impressive techniques in there at times.
Yeah. Simeon Powell though that guy is good, but he's kind of has like he has moments, and then like I remember his first loss in Bellator, I think it was. No, I'm sorry, it was PFL. Yeah, it was against another prospect, Jacob Neto. It's very hard. I won't say I disagree with Shoeface being your choice. But it'll be interesting to see how Shoeface and Powell stack up against each other.
Yeah, what I was impressed with was some of his takedowns for a guy who's a jiu-jitsu, more of a guy from Brazil, jiu-jitsu guy. Usually they don't have great takedowns, but he had some really nice single leg takedowns. I think he had a nice lateral drop against the cage. So he showed some high technical takedowns that you don't see a lot in MMA. Running the pipe off the single leg, you don't see very much. So he was able to execute some high level technique. And so, yeah, I think if I had to bet, it would be those two guys as the favorites. But like you said, Cauley and Powell were also impressive in their finishes. So
yeah, I won't lie, it would be kind of cool if Cauley and Powell, just because, like, I don't know, like that'd be a hard fight for me to predict, quite honestly. I feel like Phil Davis.
Cauley and Davis next. How do you think that fight matches up?
I think Davis, again, like I said, he fights smart. I don't think he's going to let Cully, I don't know, bully him or get within striking range of him. I think he'll be able to. If he knocks out Cully, I'll be stunned. Um, so I don't know. We'll start to get this. We have this new Phil Davis who can just knock out people willy nilly. Um, but Phil Davis, I think he's going to. Excuse me. He's going to try to wrestle grapple fuck this guy, and that's probably the smartest thing he should do with a guy like Cully. You don't want to get into a striking exchange with Cully.
Now, what do you think about Shoeface and Powell?
It's interesting. That's an interesting because it's very hard because I don't like Phil Davis. I don't think that Shoeface's necessary fights as smart that as he does.
Yeah, he's pretty aggressive.
Yeah. So it's very also. Oh, okay, no, he has been finished. Shoeface has been finished once. It's good, if Powell can negate Shoeface's grappling tense, then it'll be easy win for Powell. You kind of know what Shoeface is going to do in his matches, and it's very easy. It's kind of easy to what do you call it? Have a plan for that. Phil Davis, though, it's still a hard guy to fight. I feel like
I
a
thought
very hard.
Shoeface showed some decent striking, though.
It's decent, but does he want to strike with a powerful guy like with Powell?
Right.
That's the thing. These jiu-jitsu guys are always powerful until they have to fight somebody who's an actual like knockout guy. Then it's like, I don't know if I want to be. I don't know if I wanted to do that.
Yeah. And this is kind of one thing that I wanted to say, and we said this before. We can look forward to these matches, and you really don't get this in other promotions. We already know who's going to fight who next. And that's really why I really enjoy this promotion and this format. Because here we are a day or two later, talking about who these guys are fighting next. We already know that. UFC's not going to give you that.
Yeah. And I'm curious. I'm again curious to know what they do for the semifinals if somebody gets injured, pulls out, or for whatever reason. I really want to see like what they do with that. If they have an alternate on standby, or do they go with somebody else? I'm very curious to see what they do in those cases if it happens.
I think this way we can kind of also make the show a little easier. We can just kind of talk about, let's go to heavyweight bracket, and we'll talk about the next set of matchups and how those guys did in their first fights. So we have Moldavsky versus Romanov in the next round. That's good from the first two fights of the bracket. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. It's very interesting. Moldavsky is, I don't think has he ever been, let me see if he's ever been finished. Oh, he's actually been finished only once, and that was by knockout. When was that? It'd be like, oh, that was Linton Vassell who did that. Okay. It's a very interesting matchup because Romanov is, so Moldavsky being from Team Fedor, kind of expecting to bring that Sambo style, whatever. But is that going to work with a guy who is a fucking great grappler like Romanov?
It's also a big guy to try and take him down over and over again.
That too. Moldavsky is very not slow, but plotting maybe. I think he's I don't think he's the most exciting guy come from Team Fedor, not of the current crop. Yeah, it's an interesting fight, a very interesting fight because I really wonder how Moldavsky is going to go against that type of grappler. I'm trying to see. I'm looking at his record right now to see if he's fought anybody else who I would say is like top tier. I mean, okay, he lost to Ryan Bader. Let's see, he lost to Amir Ali Akbari and Ryzen. as well. Yeah, he really, it seems like his losses are are mainly to really good heavyweight grapplers.
Yeah. And I think
So
Romanov's size is going to be a problem.
that too as well. Romanov
Because
is
I think
yeah,
Moldavsky's a
go
little
ahead.
bit on the smaller side.
Yeah, he is. He is. He can make light heavyweights maybe after some time. Romanov though, yeah, it's a that's an interesting that's gonna be an an interesting that's gonna be an interesting fight, I think.
Yeah. And then on the other side of the bracket, we had Rodrigo Nascimento versus Oleg Popov. So what do you think about that
Oh boy.
matchup?
Oh boy, that we might need you might need some caffeine between these two. I don't know. These two did not, better that these two face off so that they have to face somebody like hopefully a Romanov or something who's going to try to push that finish. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to give the just the edge to maybe Hop Off, I'm gonna say. Again, team favor guy. Nascimento is, heavyweight, uh, kind of just all rounder guy. He does have a bunch of submissions on his record, but yeah, I don't know. It's again. Oh well. Also, the other thing, all the submissions were like he has not finished anybody since 2020. Actually, no, he did have one finish, but it got overturned. So, other than that, yeah, all of his wins are like decision, or split decision since then. I don't know. It's a tough. I feel like it's gonna be one of those heavyweight fights. I think.
Yeah.
Listen, not everything can be diamonds. Sometimes you need a fool's gold. There's gotta be fool's gold sometimes. In these types of fights.
Now let's touch on PFL 3 because we did a show on this. We had technical difficulties, and like I said, I think we can shorten it by just going to the next set of matchups. So
Yeah.
on top of the bracket, we got Fabian Edwards versus Josh Silveira. So what do you think about that matchup?
Interesting. Didn't expect Edwards to finish off Impa. Josh is also adequate stand-up guy. Maybe it'll be interesting to see how Fabian does. I don't think these two have faced off before. But let's see. This could be the whole new making of a whole new coming out party for Fabian Edwards.
Yeah. And then on the other side, we got Dalton Rosta versus Aaron Jeffrey.
Yeah, they're rematching. That's Dalton Ross, Dalton's only loss. So very interested. I like that little story behind it. And then Rasa obviously got the finish on Sadabusi, and Jeffrey got a very close decision with Murad Ramazanov. So yeah, and I think Jeffrey won their first fight by unanimous decision. So it's gonna be interesting. Rasa said that he's a whole new fighter in this whole thing, and he showed it. So I think we're going to see a whole new fight between Rasa and Jeffrey, too.
And then on the bottom side, when we're doing the lightweight tournament, so we got Brent Primus versus Alfie Davis.
Yeah.
What did you think of that matchup?
Oh well, it's just one that Clay Collar didn't go forward, but Premise and Davis should be interesting. It's gonna be, again, Premise is not really a guy who keeps them to stand up. Davis might have to get a win in this fight. Excuse me. Um, yeah, it's very tough. I wouldn't even on the surface. I don't know who to really actually pick. It's very hard. I can see it's kind of going both ways because Premises uh has really lost to high level strikers or high level Dagestani type wrestlers. And I don't know if I would put Davis as a high level striker, but if he's going to come prepared to strike with Primus, then he's probably going to win this fight.
And then we have who's probably the favorite, Godsey Rabadanov versus J.J. Wilson in the next round.
Yeah. Oh man, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most out of PFL 3 or the this lightweight and welterweight matches to the middleweight. So yeah, I mean. JJ Wilson, who would have thought that he would finish Masvidal by TKO? Yeah, I'm hoping that this is a very exciting scramble heavy mixed martial arts heavy fight.
Yeah, it's a these matchups. Like I said before, knowing who you can anticipate round to round, it kind of makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
And maybe we could, since we're doing it, maybe we could just touch on. Let me see if I can bring it up. PFL 5, because we're kind of going the next round already, so maybe we could touch on the next set of fights if we can find the bracket for that. The Storley versus, I think that's the main versus. Who is it that he's facing again? Luciano, right?
Yeah. No. Storley's facing Kikuri.
Yeah, that's right, Kid Curry. Let's see if we can find the card or because they fought in the first one, right? So that's PFL 1, 2025.
Yes. Yes.
So we can go back to that bracket because that's going to be the next tournament show we get. There's some other shows before
Yes.
that,
Let me
but
see.
we're
Bring
kind of
it up.
sticking to the brackets here. At least for our shows, we're kind of sticking to the tournament. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
so
So
yeah, so we
PFL.
can go to the bracket here. And we already know what the next set of we had kind of touched on this in our first episode, but we can go over it again. So we got Jackson versus Thad Gene. Both of those fights are probably pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially because Gene came in as a last minute replacement, got a finish against Berkimov, and then Jackson, went from not finishing anybody to just finishing all of the opponents. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna because I think that Jackson is definitely more of a MMA fighter, but Gene is a hard striker. So it's a very interesting fight to see how these two are going to adapt to each other's strengths.
And maybe how Jackson navigates Gene's power. You got a guy who's real experienced versus a guy who has a lot of potential.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, um, I definitely would favor probably Jackson, but listen, who wouldn't want to see Thad Gene alternate or last minute replacement come in and uh just like kind of make it to the finals, maybe even win, hopefully.
Right. And then we got you're a rising guy, you're a Japanese MMA guy, as I was too in my younger years. So we got Storley versus Kikuri here. What do you think of this?
Oh yeah, so we know Stories has fought the same way he has since his debut. You know what you're gonna get with him. Curry is a powerful striker. And I think Story's only been finished once by strikes. It'll be very interesting to see how if Curry can use that power to keep Storley at bay and maybe even finish him. Curry has to worry about basically wrestling. Story gets a hold of him. It's gonna be a long 3 rounds, man. It's gonna be a long 3 rounds.
Yeah, I think, one thing Storley, even, I don't know if quietly is the right word to say, but I feel like he's quietly maybe one of, if not the best wrestlers in MMA because he's, like you said, he's pretty much stuck to that style from the beginning, using his strengths, which there's nothing wrong with that. We could, maybe we'll talk a little bit about Bo Nickel after this, but, that's something I watched with his fight this past weekend. You know,
Mm-hmm.
guys who are great at wrestling, when they're just first coming in, they should be wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Take your opponent down. If he gets up, take him down again, and just do that over. Now, if they force you to do something else, then fine. But there's nothing wrong with fighting that way. It can be very effective. And Storley, I think, has quietly been one of the most effective takedown guys in MMA ever since he got into MMA.
There is a kind of a how do I say this? There is definitely kind of a backlash against that type of fighting, which I understand. It's it's kind of like you want action. You want action. But there also needs to be, if somebody doesn't know is not putting themselves in trying to get out, trying to put themselves in a better position, then it's like, you know, what do you want? What do you want them to do? It's you know, there's a balance between fighting entertainingly, fighting smart, and fighting stupidly. So it's one of the things that people don't really appreciate with MMA sometimes. People just want to see guys stand and bang when, man, listen, if you want to watch people stand and bang, that's what boxing's for. This is MMA.
Yeah, but I think also trainers, and this might have happened with Nickel, where trainers just outsmart themselves. You got a guy here in Storley who has never been submitted,
Mhm.
ever. So why not fight on the ground? No one has submitted you. You're going to be on top probably the majority of the time. Why not
Mhm.
just do that? Why give someone the chance to beat you on the feet? Why?
Oh, I mean, yeah. If you look at Keith Curry's record, like you're like, do I want to stand and bang with that guy? Probably
No,
not. And then also Story has been knocked out before. Um,
just one time.
one time,
By
but listen,
Musayev, who's about, come on, he's,
yeah. But also, here's people, a lot of fighters when they get finished in their first fight, especially by strikes, a lot of them tend to be tentative. A lot of them tend to have this, I don't they lose a step or they take fewer steps than in fights going forward because you don't want to get knocked out again. No, it's not
right.
fun getting knocked out. So, I will see how Story kind of fights like that. I think we're just gonna see the same old Story, and if Kikuri's gonna win, he's gonna have to somehow sneak one of those hard ass punches in.
Yeah, basically it's just Kakuri's job to stop what Storley does. It's not Storley's job to stop what he does, really.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
If
yeah.
Storley can do what he wants, he's going to win. That's just all
Hmm.
there is to it.
Yeah,
You have a
yeah,
very low percentage chance of beating him because no one's been able to submit him, and it's not likely you're going to be on top very much. So you really have a low percentage chance of beating him.
yeah, yeah.
So
So also you have the tournament aspect as well because we've been you would
yeah,
think that there'd be less finishes in a tournament because people are playing a little bit more safe, but we've seen more finishes in this than probably the previous PFL era. And I think people will kind of want to just get in, get out, and then get ready, and start, don't want to get any injuries or whatever, and they want to get ready for the next one as soon as possible.
yeah, for sure. So and then we go to the next side, the featherweight, and we got Jesus Pineda versus Gabriel Braga.
Hmm.
I mean, Pineda's the defending champion, right? Or he was
Yeah,
PFL champion.
yeah.
So he's kind of defending, and now he's got to go against Braga. Um, Braga won by submission. What do you think of that matchup?
Oh, it's interesting, kind of like two guys who are uh I'm I don't know if I want to say that they're the opposite of how they fight. Pineda's kind of an all-rounder. I would maybe say Braga is maybe more of a striker, maybe a little bit of jits in there. It's an interesting fight. It's very interesting to see how that one goes. I feel like it's mostly going to be in the stand-up. Like these two are going to mostly stand up, and that's how the fight will be decided. They're both good strikers, uh, and very hard guys to put down.
And Pineda's
Uh,
got a lot of length. He's kind of long and wiry.
so just also for transparency, Pineda they fought before, and Pineda lost by third round standing TKO. And the only other loss that Braga has had is to Tamir Kizriev, who and that's a split decision by the way. So that I don't remember that fight, but let's assume that split decision means that like someone fought that Braga won. So um well it's I would maybe lean towards more Braga uh in this. It's again very hard to they actually fought twice, excuse me. So look at this. So 2023, Braga, Pineda, fought. Pinedo won by split decision, and then the second time they went up, Braga finished Pinedo in the third round. So we got a rubber match here, an interesting rubber match. Okay, now I'm very interested in this. I'm very interested in this. So, but I'll probably have to lean towards Braga. I feel like Braga is just going to bring more power and more ferocity to this match than Pineda might.
And then we got Molvig Kaibalayev versus Kim Tycoon. That's the other matchup. What do you think about that one?
Oops, sorry, I lost my thing. Hold on, let me just get that back up. Oh yeah. I mean, well, Kabalayev is gonna probably like just blow through this guy, right? I can't see. I don't know what Kim Tycoon can really do. Let me get his record up to kind of just see like what I can. I mean, he's 11-1, so that's impressive.
Yeah.
But let me see who his lost. His loss was to Roman Bogatov by split decision. Okay, and Brave. I'm looking at the people he's fought. Okay, is that Eric De Silva, who was in USC? 22-6, 11-2, 11-3, 10-4. I don't know, man. I feel like my God, Kabalayev is just a fucking monster. He may not be able to finish Tycoon, but I think I have to edge on Kabalayev just because of how dominant this guy is in all of his in
Well,
every
Kennedy
fight.
gave him a good fight. I felt like he was a little undersized against Kennedy.
Maybe,
That's the
but
one we were
Kennedy
talking
also
about
is a
earlier.
yeah, Kennedy's also a veteran, and he was able to. I just don't know if if Tycoon is going to be able to defend against takedowns, gonna get that, just gonna be able to fight to kind of like block or defend against that Dagestani. Yeah, you're right. He's 5'6" at featherweight. That is actually very small for featherweight. Um, I don't know. I have to edge with Kabalai. Oh my God, I'm losing my Kabulayev in this just because of how dominant he's been in. The size difference though, 5'11" is Tycoon. So that'll be interesting. 5'6" versus 5'11".
Yeah. So maybe we could touch on PFL too, but maybe we should do that in the next episode because this next round of matchups would be the next set that we're gonna get um, at the first event of
Mhm.
the semi. So maybe we'll
Uh-huh.
touch on that one next episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Maybe we could say like what do you think of how the tournaments are going so far? Because like I was telling you, for me, even though these guys aren't necessarily guys in the biggest shows yet, you have matches you can anticipate already, which you wouldn't have in other promotions because they'd be trying to put together cards. You may not
Yeah.
see these guys again for 6 more months, 5 more months. So here you know you're going to see them in June, and for me, being able to know to follow these, and then whoever wins in these next brackets, now we can look at the finals. It's just a very easy product to consume.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about rankings. You don't have to worry about this. This guy doesn't want to face that guy. This
Hmm.
guy, whatever, whatever, whatever. This is a history of fucking MMA. We know what's on the roster. We know that if somebody gets injured, has to pull out. We know that there'll be replacements. So yeah, um, it works. It works. This is what people wanted. People were like, go to single elimination, add elbows. You got it.
Yeah, and
Where are
it's
you
like the
guys
other day
now?
I saw Armin Sarukian saying he turned down a fight with Gamrot. Saying he's below me in the rankings, and I shouldn't have to fight him. And that's what I'm kind of talking about. The UFC, it seems to have that problem more and more now, where guys don't want to fight. They're finding reasons not to fight.
And we got Ilya who moved up, I think. Did
Yeah,
he? Okay, yes. And then there's that whole thing. I mean, obviously you can't do that in tournaments. You're married to whatever bracket you're in. And
right.
then you have next year if you want to go up or down, then yeah, you can do that. Yeah, this is it's it the UFC is having a big problem with that right now. and it seems to be only a UFC thing. And I don't like. Well, then again, here's the UFC doesn't have to worry about it because they made their $300 million from ESPN, so they don't have to do anything. They can just they want if they want to have CM Punk versus Mike Jackson 365 days a year on ESPN Plus, they can go ahead and do that because they've already made their money. So they're not. That's the thing. They're not obligated to put on unless the Saudi people tell them that's the exception. If the Saudi people say, "Hey, we don't want this fucking fight nights type shit in our fucking arena. Rebook this shit," then they'll listen. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's nothing that they owe, not that ESPN has no say or anything like that in their and and what type of fights they're booking for the pay-per-views and for the plus shows.
Right.
It's pitiful. It's really pitiful because this never it used to be it even used to be UFC like even 5 years ago. Like this is recent phenomenon with so many guys turning down fights and all that. It was like very uncommon and almost frowned upon to turn down a fight. Now it's almost like, yeah, you have what's his name? Like Ryan Hall hasn't fought, or I think he fought recently, but he didn't fight for like 3 or 4 or 5 years. Chrome Gracie fought last year after like 3 or 4 year layoff. Um, yeah, it's so strange. I don't know. Is it the fighters? Is it the management? I honestly, or is it both? It's perplexing. I really can't understand. And here's the thing that sucks. These fighters have no power. They have no power. So I don't know like why you'd want to do that, especially if you're Arman Sarukian. With all due respect, great fighter, but like I can't remember the last time somebody says, "Boy, can't wait to see Arman Sarukian fights." I don't mean that as an insult, but like, yeah.
Usually, though, UFC was pretty successful at getting people to fight, forcing them to fight at some point. But now it's like, I don't know what changed contractually or what, but now it's like guys just don't want to do it.
I don't know. I think maybe UFC is fine with it because it's like, okay, we don't have to pay Armin $150,000 to show up. So you know what? Hey, we'll find somebody from a contender series, pay him 20,000, and I'll make people upstairs happy. Maybe I don't. Honestly don't know, man. I don't know why. This used to be a boxing thing. It used to be boxing. Nobody wanted to fight anybody. Now we're getting all the fights in boxing that
Right.
people said that would never happen. We're getting Crawford. Crawford Canelo next. It looks like.
Yeah.
So and I think we're getting what's his name? The heavyweight guy, the heavy British boxer heavyweight guy. What's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Oh, what's his name? The British one. The one
Oh,
who walked.
Joshua.
Yes, we were getting Joshua against who was it again? I forgot the was it wasn't Fury. I don't think it was Fury. I remember I saw his name like come up recently. And we got Romero. We just had Romero versus Garcia as
Yeah.
well, which I know I couldn't have given a fuck about, but people are looking forward to that for whatever reason. Yeah. So yeah. But again, UFC doesn't have, they're not obligated to do anything, because they already made their money. Actually, that's what Dana said. I remember Dana gave this like famous TED talk, whatever, saying you have to force people to be hungry if you want them to if you want to get them to fight or something. If you pay them too much money, they're just gonna sit back and not want to fight. Well, it seems like the opposite is happening. They're not getting a lot of money and they're still not fighting. Meanwhile, Canelo's fighting every 2 years and making $25 million. So,
Yeah. It's an interesting phenomenon. Um, Andrew, I want to appreciate you taking the time to cover these PFL events. It's been great doing these shows with you.
yeah.
And
Just to let you know as well, I got an interview coming up with Lewis McGrillen, who's fighting on PFL Europe 1. Which the Belfast card, PFL Belfast card coming up. And it's a great interview. He's hilarious. I understand maybe like only every other word he said because he's from Manchester, but it's a great interview. But it's gonna be on MMA Sucker. Hopefully this week. Let me just double check when that his fight is up because there's two. We got PFL Europe this week and next weekend.
Yeah, and they also
Um,
have PFL Mina.
yes. Oh, okay.
Mina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this weekend is when Lewis McGrillen fights, and then next weekend is the France card, which I think both are on the zone. I believe.
And that's another thing we
Um,
kind of touch on. They're doing a lot of expansion. I know, some people kind of downplaying that, but you know,
yeah.
they are. They're aggressively expanding into other markets where they can find more people to put in these tournaments. You can have
Mhm.
tournaments in Europe, tournaments in the Middle East.
Yeah. It
You
would
know,
be nice though. Well, first of all, I hate the zone. I wish it was on anything but the zone.
yeah,
And the PFL main card, I don't even think is being shown outside. Uh, as far as I know, I don't think there's any way that we can watch it because previous media shows we couldn't watch. So it'd be great if they at least had those, or you know, get them on YouTube like a day or two after or something, just so that people can see like what's going on with France and Belfast and Maine as well. So yeah, we're getting some nice international stuff. I don't know about this PFL Africa stuff though, because Francis Ngannou is in a little
yeah.
bit of a bad stuff right now. So that might be shell for the time being. So uh, but yeah, MENA, Europe, uh it would be great if they regularly ran Europe because I feel like that's still other than KSW and Octagon, like the England's, the British, Irish, French area doesn't really have that, since Bellator went under, so or disappeared. So it would be great if PFL would regularly just run show there. It's kind of like how Bellator did at the uh what's the O2 Arena, the Accord Arena, whatever they call it, Accord
Hmm.
Arena in France. Because those are some good shows, and they were on at good times as well. They were on like early and finished by like 5 or 6 o'clock, so I had my day to had the rest of my day. So hopefully PFL will do that going forward.
What I want to see, and I'd assume this is what they would do, where they have tournaments in these regions. You have tournaments in America with the various weight classes. You have tournaments in this region with the various weight classes, this region, this region. And then you can have all the champions representing different regions, in the various
Mm,
weight classes.
yeah,
And it's just one big, kind of final tournament where
be
all these
good.
different regions are represented.
They kind of did that PFL Europe, or that's how they kind of had like that. They had a Europe like championship, or I think it was that's what McGrillen won that, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the Europe championship. So maybe they'll do that. Oh, I don't know when they started that last year, but I think yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, it I don't know. Do you think it'd be more interesting to do the champions of the Europe versus the champions of the main season?
What I'd like to see is just all the champions from the various regions. So you have, flyweight, welter, whatever tournaments you're doing. And then you have the next region, same thing. This region, same thing. However many regions you have. And then you have one final one.
Hmm.
All champions from the various regions across the various weight classes. One
Hmm.
final tournament to
But
truly crown a world champion.
I can see that. I can definitely see uh that hopefully happening. I don't know that what oh I feel like the logistics though might be very tough on that somehow. I don't know why. My brain is like thinking because what happens if somebody pulls out or gets injured like the week of?
But you got to have some backups. That's always the case.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Maybe you could have like the loser of the finals in some of these tournaments as a potential. At least they
Hmm.
got to the final.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things coming up.
Mhm.
Let people know where they can find your stuff on YouTube and
Yeah. So you can follow I again cover Ryzen JMMA mainly. The podcast is called We Are Ryzen Podcast. It's available on YouTube and Spotify and SoundCloud and Apple. Is it iTunes or Apple, whatever it is. So yeah, just look up We Are Rising Podcast, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. And also the Twitter it for that I run for that is We Are Rising Pod, and go there for all your Rising JMMA goodness.
All right, everybody who checked out the show, we appreciate you following it, and subscribe to our channels. Subscribe to Andrew's channel. We Are Rising Podcast, and get down in the comments. Let us know what you think about PFL, think about the show. And as always, appreciate support. Until next episode, take care.